Hit me!
Episode 325.
You've got to throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. One of them we used to always default to is Twitter. So if you want to take part in that, that is where my good friend Trent comes in to let you know how you can do that one.
Yeah, super simple. Just use the hashtag NetHeads like Will Wilkins did not too long ago. 20 days ago. And you can check out some Twitch stuff that he's posting there. He's always hashtagging NetHeads, as well as people letting me know that I've screwed up on some things, which is part of the fun.
Wait a second. What exactly have you? How is it? Wait, we're not even into the first minute of this. So what have you screwed up on in the past? That's what they must be telling you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nothing recent. But like that's how you can let me know that, like, no, actually it was in FF number 97 was Jack Kirby's last published work with the company. He went to DC before 98 was published. Stuff like that.
Oh, gotcha. I understand. Well, that's a damn shame. But you know what? Hey, if not for our faults, what else would we have? Also, I don't want to open up the phone lines. Forget that. But you can definitely go ahead and take part one of many ways. The neat thing, though, is, Trent, one of the things that I finally remembered to do is to make sure that when the tweet goes out to say that we're live, let's actually point them to a destination. Even though we're going out to Twitter,
right?
Why don't we just go ahead and make sure that we're also like directing somebody to go to YouTube as well? Because, you know, one of the goals that I have, other than actually getting back to doing the podcast weekly somehow, is to start actually paying attention to our media and start growing it in a productive manner. So the next step would be to get, for example, NetHeads on Air as a channel up to about 1,000 subscribers. I don't think it's an unrealistic goal. If we could get every single listener to the show to do it, then we'd be fine.
Is that where you can partner at 1,000? Yeah,
technically speaking, that's where you can partner, and you can be a part of everything. What are you drinking there? Is that an yerba mate based drink or just some kind of energy drink?
It is a Rockstar Recovery.
Oh, are we in recovery right now?
No, I just like it because it's not like carbonated. It just tastes like a Sunny Delight.
Speaking of which, you know, I can't believe you brought up Sunny Delight of all things.
I love Sunny D, man.
And you know, as long as we are a tech show, obviously this applies. What exactly is Sunny Delight? What is it? It's a citrus drink, right? But it's not orange juice.
Yeah, I think it's like name brand Tampico. And granted, Tampico makes a lot of different flavors, but when you say Tampico, people think of the orange drink. And I think Sunny D is like the grocery store name brand Tampico, where Tampico is like the gas station or bodega version of Sunny D.
Now, you bring up an interesting item there, Trent, because educationally speaking, what the hell is Tampico?
Really?
Yeah, no clue. Absolutely none.
It's like Sunny D, and Sunny D is a name brand. I think it's owned by Kraft.
Okay, wait a second. You've now put me into a logical loop. You're telling me Tampico is like Sunny D. Sunny D is like Tampico.
Yeah.
But is it another bottled citrus drink?
Yes, and both Sunny D and Tampico have multiple flavors, We just associate the brand name with the most popular flavor.
Gotcha. So you're telling me that if I were an adventurous individual, I could potentially go out into the world and I could find Sunny D strawberry, for example. Bad example, but let's just say for shits and giggles.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't know we were going to get into the Sunny D of it all, folks, but it was amazing to me because I had just recently had a discussion in my home where we were discussing citrus drinks and orange juice, and I know personally for me, I didn't know what Sunny D even was. I remember drinking it a lot. I remember enjoying it, but I'm not necessarily saying that it was good, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm trying to. They've got, so it's P&G product. It's distributed by the Cadbury company. And let's see here, 2% or less juice in it from concentrate. And their flavors are orange, or at least their concentrated juices that they use in the different flavors are orange, tangerine, apple, lime, grapefruit, and pear.
Okay. All right. I'm a little more with you now. I'm a little bit. I'm Johnny on the spot, but I at least have an idea about what is going on.
Okay. So they have multiple flavors, such as tangy orange, which I think is the one that we all grew up drinking. They also have smooth orange, orange strawberry, orange mango, orange peach, watermelon, fruit punch, peach mango. I have seen the blue raspberry, cherry limeade, lemonade, apparently, and orange pineapple. Those are their flavors.
Okay. All right. I feel much better now. I have a deeper understanding. It's just some type of blended beverage. That's what it is. I'm sorry. I didn't anticipate us doing this like deep dive on Sunny D. I don't know. I don't know why I wanted to take the conversation so deep, but it's just another one of those creepy moments where suddenly we're discussing something that somehow just came up yesterday as well amongst my family. So it's just strange.
When was the last time you had Sunny D? For me, it's been at least a decade.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know that I've had it since like my late teens, maybe at the most.
And I wonder, I kind of want to go buy some just to see. At least for me growing up, the worst part about Sunny D was, and I feel like this was part of their design in the bottle to keep people from drinking straight out of the jug. The lip on the around the top, like it wasn't a flush. It didn't, like the top of the bottle didn't go flush with the grooves on the cap. It came in.
Yes, it did. That's right.
It would it wouldn't cut it, but it was very uncomfortable and kind of hurt when you would drink out of it because the lip would catch on. The lip of the bottle would catch on the inner of your own lip. And that sharp plastic was not great feeling.
Yeah, plus you really shouldn't be drinking straight out of the bottle of anything if you're in a home with other people.
No, yeah. I wonder if they've changed that design or if that was on purpose to deter people from like drinking it straight out of the bottle and going, directly into a diabetic coma.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, 4-Color PJ, comes to us through Twitch saying, fruit drinks have a lot of very odd rules of what can be called a beverage and juice. Also rules on what is fruit and real fruit. Oddly, several of those categories don't need the actual juice they are being called.
Long as it... Okay, interesting.
That is amazing. I did not know that. So thank you for that informative extra bit of information. Appreciate it, Paul. Paul, a long-time participant in the show as well, as many others, including one of our TikTok followers, one of mine, is joining us as well, Trent. His name is Ben, and he said it's great in a blender with vanilla ice cream to make a shake, which I could also see.
And I was going to say it is the only time that I've used, and I've used Tampico instead of Sunny D is if as a cheap mixer. Like if I don't want to like actually muddle some sugar, I will just get some Tampico to mix cocktails because it's got way more than enough sugar for cocktails.
Understood. I know one of the things I was attempting to convey when I think my entire family was just saying, wow, you know what? Sunny D is disgusting. I just remember that it did have kind of a certain creamy quality compared to other beverages. So I could definitely see it being an enhancement to a shake for sure.
Yeah, and I'll bet that like flavor is because its shelf life is freaking forever. Working at the grocery store, I remember like Sunny D could sit on the shelf forever.
Yeah, Matt Westphalen also pointing out Sunny D had a weird aftertaste. Didn't ruin it for me, but I didn't love it. Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Right.
It's just not
Yeah.
not the best. For me, it wasn't even an aftertaste. It was just like an after. It was an after coating, if you will. You know what I mean? Kind of like the way almond milk leaves a film in your mouth.
Funny story, and relevant to past episodes. I've actually never had almond milk.
Jesus, I just have it all the time now because,
Yeah.
you know, in living kind of that low carb free lifestyle, I adapted making like a latte because I was an idiot and spent way too much money on an espresso machine thinking it would get me out of the Starbucks rut. And I only say an idiot because now I am saving money. I've definitely got a return on an investment for me. But in some ways, I kind of feel obligated with the money that I spent that I have to always make like a latte.
Right.
So in order to kind of get that latte experience still, I had to vary it up. So I went with unsweetened vanilla almond milk, which, you know, honestly speaking, after you get past all of the coffee that you add in and all the other ways that I ruin what would be a decent latte, it adds a creaminess to it, which is fine, but it's not like I really taste the almond at all. Because have I ever gone into just how much I ruin my coffee?
No, actually, you haven't. We've definitely gone over the processes of extracting milk from the legume known as an almond.
Now, to give some of you some insight, a little history into that, what he's referring to is there was a certain point where I was like, you know what? Buying almond milk is for suckers because I've got a Vitamix blender. I can make it at home, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so what that process involves, though, is that you need to have a nut sack, guys.
Yeah, you got to milk it. You got to milk that nutsack, Will.
You really do. And you got to squeeze your nutsack real hard if you want to get the milk out. And what I'm referring to is a fine mesh bag that you put you soak the almonds, then you eventually add more water, you blend that up, and then you put it into this bag as a way to filter it out. And so led to many fun hours chuckling about, you know, working my nutsack. But all in all, the joke has passed. But no, I do that thing where I make a latte variant of the quote-unquote bulletproof coffee. Have you heard about this nonsense?
I have not. Bulletproof coffee?
Yeah,
That, like, bulletproof, you can't screw it up?
or that it's supposed to help you be a bulletproof solution to taking on your day or whatever. It's a specific bulletproof is actually a specific brand name by the guy that came up with this. But I think what he postulated is that by making it this way, you create a beverage that will help suppress appetite, but also, quote unquote, improve mental clarity. So traditionally made, you have organic beans that are ground fresh, and you make your coffee in a French press. And then for the coffee, you add 2 tablespoons specifically of the Kerrygold Irish unsalted butter. You add at least 1 tablespoon of medium chain triglyceride oil, which is derived from coconuts. Yeah, that's it. And the coffee. And you blend those together, and it makes a creamy, frothy cup of coffee that's supposed to give you energy, suppress your appetite, all that jazz. And full disclosure, I've been drinking these damn things for over 2 years now. So, you know, my body is more than likely adapted to it. But still, it does give me a kick in the morning. I have to make a latte variant, however. And one of the things that my brother-in-law suggested was, you know, well, what you could do if it's not fully holding your appetite over, you could also add like collagen powder to it. So I added dark chocolate flavored collagen powder. And then the almond milk comes into play for the creaminess. So I make a quad shot espresso. I add in the 2 tablespoons of butter to the espresso when I'm brewing it to melt that. I add the collagen protein powder into that, and that gets all blended together. Then I put the MCT oil in with the about 200 milliliters of almond milk. Might be somewhere close to a cup. I don't know. I just know that I use the 200 milliliter indicator in my frothing mug to take that up to, along with the tablespoon, like I said, of the MCT oil. So that way, when I'm frothing the milk, I feel that the heat and the steam helps that emulsify into one thing, right?
Yeah.
And then I pour that into my coffee mess. But so what I'm drinking is in no way, shape, or form something that somebody who drinks coffee would probably say is a cup of coffee. But the nice side benefit is that every morning I get to enjoy a tasty cup of what tastes like hot chocolate, because I forgot to add in that I also do use like 5 or 6 pumps of sugar-free vanilla syrup. So
Okay.
what I wind up with is basically a juiced up cup of hot chocolate, which is a great way to start the day. And odds are, I typically, when I have that, I won't get hungry until like at least noon. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and through doing that, I accidentally kind of fell in on, I guess, to intermittent fasting, because now I almost never eat until at least like 2 o'clock. But hey, speaking of which, I noticed something the other day. I was looking at some of our older videos, and yeah, again, folks, tech podcast, right? Tech podcast. I was looking at our old videos, and I noticed something. Looking at our faces, I am willing to venture a guess. I'm thinking you and I are probably at our lightest that we've ever been when interacting with each other. Because
I know I am.
I'm noticing that there is way, way less to your face than I'm used to seeing.
Yeah. And well, and like we've collectively, we've probably shed a Jason Mewes.
Okay, look, full disclosure.
In mass, not in character. We could never even, we don't even bring that to the table. But in sheer gravitational mass, we've shed a Mewes.
More than likely. Okay, so hold on. Let me so far on my weight loss journey, Trent. That's the way I feel. And I admit, too, that when you get into this kind of horse crap, there's a certain point where you just kind of almost become obsessive about your weight. But realistically speaking, I wish it was something I had done many, many years ago instead of now. But anyway, so let's see. I'm going to do some quick math. So let's take 23 pounds off the table. And using my last weight, 23 and 46, that is 69. Is that 69? 23 and 46?
Sure.
Kitty. All right. So I've lost a total of 69 pounds. What about you?
Since February, when I was let go from my work, I've lost 60 pounds, like exactly.
Okay, so that's 129 pounds.
Okay, no, not a Mewes.
Maybe potentially a young Mewes, a young and svelte Mewes.
Which Mewes are we on? Do we have on the other side of the scale?
Sean Hogarty pointing out, who's also Vaca Boca on Twitter, which is a name that we've also seen for ages. So thank you for being a part of the party, Sean. And Sean Ryan pointing out the coffee you drink when you don't drink coffee. Glenn Patterson is telling one of us we need a shave. But Sean Hogarty pointing out that is excellent phrasing. Way less of your face and shed a Jason Mewes. And I would agree, 120 pounds would probably be, relatively speaking, a better part of a Mewes. It's definitely a person. We have shed a person between us.
Oh, yeah, easily.
And I'm not just talking about when we lost America from the show. We've shed a person between us.
We've shed the mass equivalent to a human being, to a sentient creature.
Most definitely. And you... I wish this was the point where we were like segueing to like Noom being a sponsor, or the app, or the apps that we've used to do it. I mean, part of my quote unquote journey has come from technology in a way, because through my main job, I was joined into this program that I got to use for 2 years, But realistically, what it does, it was more about food logging, making good choices, avoiding some of the higher carbohydrate food. But the other thing that it did is it had a scale that you could stand on. You were supposed to stand on it every morning or at least once a day. And then it would transmit that weight to the program, and then you would also have it in your app. So in that case, I was very aware of what I was eating, at which point then I could see the trends of what I ate and how they reflected into weight loss or gain, whether it was temporary water fluctuation or actual weight gain. So in that respect, I could say technology helped me, but it hasn't been anything like using Carb Manager or anything else, which is interesting because there have been a lot of different technologies I have tried through the years. I had the Body Bug, a few versions of that one.
Yeah, you were an early adopter on that, weren't you?
Huh?
Didn't you get like a beta on it?
One of them, yeah. I got so there was that. Then also after the Body Bug was the Nike Fuel Band, which boy, that was a worthwhile investment of my time for sure. Although,
okay.
well, it sounded good at the time because they basically came up with their own metric for being able to track exercise and its impact on energy, and it was supposedly through like oxygen or carbon dioxide expulsion or something. But the idea was whether you were a 323-pound guy like me or a guy like Jason Mewes or what have you, or a Casey Neistat who runs like miles and miles a day. He's a YouTuber. If you were all using Nike Fuel, then you were all on a level and competitive playing field if you wanted to be competitive about your activity and the impact there.
Oh, okay.
Sean Hogarty pointing out, I shall now consider my subsequent weight loss the shedding of a sentient creature. About 45 pounds so far, so it is a very small creature. But, I mean, like, Winston
That's a big toddler.
Yeah, Winston is sleeping in the corner here, and I don't know. I know I showed you my corgi at 6 pounds. He's now in excess of 15, so that would be at least 3 Winstons. So,
quick sidebar.
Yeah,
dude, freaking Winston's Instagram is on fleek. Holy crap, dude! It is so good.
Okay, first of all, I don't know if anything's on fleek anymore.
It's funny because I was going to preface that saying, like, I haven't heard this for about 5 years, but I'm going to use it.
I think we could almost get by saying it's lit. I think we could still use lit acceptably.
Which is such a weird term for me because growing up, that meant drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Or high or something.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, considering there are like 3 people curing it. And what is it? It's like Winston _Pem _ Corgi or something. But yeah.
Man, I'm just blown away at how good it is.
Well, like I said, you got multiple people curating it, and he is a consistent content generator as he has been growing. So that has been fun. I did notice the other day, though, that like 2 or 3 days ago, I suddenly came to the realization he doesn't really have any puppy isms anymore or physical puppy attributes. He is now literally transformed into a smaller corgi that is going to get bigger. I would almost say he's like one of those things where you like drop it in water and it will double in size type of thing.
He's an adolescent.
Yeah, he is. But it's also been great because he's also gone from being a rather stubborn and overzealous puppy into kind of a cuddly, fun animal. So he's definitely been an amazing adventure to travel on. He's sleeping right now, or I would pick him up and show you. And before the end, I'll try. But he's just like a small child. A sleeping Winston is a good Winston. I need to stop saying his name because since we've started this conversation, he's gone from one point in the office to the other.
just human beings in general have such a hard time over talking to our pets.
I don't know if normal people do, but I know I do. My wife has officially told me I'm obsessed with him, which is true. I am. As a matter of fact, and I don't know what this is either. I think this goes back to childhood. I think there are different levels and interactions that people have with their dogs. And since I was a wee lad, when I got my first dog, which I'm going to say was like around 7 or 8 years old, naturally, when I had a dog, I wanted it to sleep with me. Now, at the time, when I was a kid, the reasoning behind that was that dogs would sense ghosts, so if anything bad were coming, my dog would warn me if a ghost was coming. I'm not saying it was an idea based on science, Trent. Okay, I'm just saying that in the mind of a 7-year-old or 8-year-old, it added up. Okay,
and had nothing to do with having previously watched like Stephen King's The Cat's Eye or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. It was based on absolutely nothing other than the fact that if they can hear better than we can, it could. I mean, look, it.
I mean, intuitively, that makes sense.
Right, exactly. I mean, and they're supposed to be protectors. Yeah. So because of that, I got used to having pets sleep with me. And now what I'm about to say is in no way, shape, or form a knock on my wife, but she is a person that is against animals being in the bed you sleep in, which I can completely understand from a hygienic standpoint. And, as somebody who sleeps with a dog, which we know you do, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Then Lurch, well, let's just put it this way. Lurch is a dog of size, but it doesn't matter the size of the dog. If your animal is sleeping with you, unless they have a specific spot that you're working around, your sleep is going to work around accommodating where they are at in the bed.
Yep, this is true. Any like sleep specialist or chiropractor, masseuse, anyone will tell you to stop sleeping with your dogs. You'll sleep better.
Right. Which is true. And so for years, though, that's still something I have enjoyed. And the times that, for example, I have one of the things that I've established in my family with both of my daughters now, because they're varying ages, 17 and 6, widespread. So now I'm finding as one cycle has ended, a new one is beginning. As the teenager naturally does not want to camp in the family room with dad, which, by the way, is not camping. It's inflating an air mattress, setting it up nice and fluffy with a sleeping bag so you're not sleeping on a cold, empty air pocket, and then, a nice comforter and real bed sheets. But now the 6-year-old is enjoying that, too. She wants to sleep downstairs with Dad. Now, when I did it with Emily, I had my dog Jack, and Jack would sleep with us. And it's one of those things where I just hearken back to my childhood, perhaps, but I just love it. And so now, to some degree, I'm either providing relief to my wife or frustration to my wife, because more often than not, I'm recommending, do you want to sleep downstairs on Friday night? And part of the reason is so that I can create those bonding memories with my daughter. But the flip side is that I know that I'm going to have Winston with us too. I'm going to. And and so far, he has become great at it. Jack was really great at it because if I slept at my bag, he would just kind of like nestle near my feet between my legs, so it wasn't an issue. And Winston is a good parallel leg sleeper. So wherever I'm at, he'll sidle up to a leg and then plop down there. And also, if I haven't mentioned it before too, I will freely admit as well that when we first got him that first night, I slept downstairs not to avoid hearing a dog crying as he's getting crate trained, because I wanted to establish a bond and be part of the pack with him. Yeah. Am I overthinking things, Trent?
Nope, not at all. No, it's imprinting. It's basic stuff for newborn animals in general. Like even, gosh, I mean, growing up when my mom was breeding horses, like the imprinting starts after the afterbirth has been pulled off of the foal. And like, she's pounding the bottom of their feet so that from that age on, they're used to having a human touching their feet so they can be shod easily, stuff like that. No, it's not overthinking at all. That's good practice.
All righty. I feel much better now. Thank you. Again, tech podcast, everybody. So yeah, it's, and how have things been well with Lurch? As long as we're having pup talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, granted, working from home probably 85% of the time now, he has just turned it. His separation anxiety is is palpable. Like, man, he does not like being left alone. Luckily, he is a fiend for high value treats that I can still, even though he knows what's coming, that I'm going to leave the house for a couple of hours, he will still go to his dog run for some hamburger. So that hasn't been an issue. But yeah, I mean, he's doing great. He's not one of those dogs that likes to, that he doesn't want to spend the whole night in bed. He definitely does, like mornings after the first let out to use the bathroom. He jumps right in bed and will go back to sleep. But he would prefer to be down on the ground during his REM cycle, which has actually been kind of weird for me because Michael Cera was like, I am in bed if I am in the bedroom.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, let's face it, man. That's kind of a major change for you because since Sherman, you've been sharing your bed with a dog.
Yep.
So, but in some ways, I'm sure that could also be contributor to those 60 pounds because now you're getting a little bit more quality sleep.
There's a lot to that, I'm sure.
It's what I firmly believe. So let's just stick with it, shall we? Okay, so that's enough about pup talk. Other than the fact that yes, I am very obsessed with my dog. It's the first time I've ever even entertained the concept of clicker training, and but I'm at least I'm invested and interested in it, and I can definitely also appreciate the difference that happens when you work from home versus. So I really hope that Lurch gets accommodating if things ever go back to normal, which I don't have high hope right now. That's just me. Excuse me.
No, I am way more productive working from home and then just going up to campus for like scheduled shoots. I get so much more done at home than because you don't have to deal with the minutia of an office.
Yeah. The only thing that you don't have, and this is the reason why Zoom can be good, is that if you need to have that human interaction, you can still get on a call and interact with people, so you can still feel like you're social and not some mutant just trapped in your house. Which having worked from home for 4 years,
right,
that definitely it helps. Like I almost insist on it, but I don't know when things are going to go back to normal, and in some ways I kind of hope they don't. I mean, I really hope that this entire experience we're going through has opened up companies' minds to the concept that you don't have to have people in an office to keep an eye on them to get the job done. But I hope it also shows that, one of the benefits that people have when they work from home is that, it's not such a chore if you suddenly realize, oh, there was one more thing I wanted to do, and you could just like drop into your workspace real quick and do that and then get back on with your day, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's with Zoom too. It's interesting because since meetings are so specific now in that, like, we have to schedule a time and we can't just like pull people in for a meeting as we need to or whatever. They are so much more effective and stay on point now, so much better than before. Where and granted, my current position has been totally during COVID, like since the hire. So, but compared to other places, like the meetings are just like, here's what we need, here's what's coming up, blah, blah, blah. Okay, goodbye. And I've appreciated that a ton. Yeah,
that's the way it should be. The only thing that I find, though, is that if you do have groups that you regularly meet with, there will be a part of the meeting that will then convert to the interaction part that you don't have no longer going into an office. So in other words, there's no dropping by a cubicle to ask a question and then having that 15-minute social discussion about what you did on the weekend or overnight or anything else. So social interaction is becoming more permissible, but it always kind of either happens at the head or the tail end of the meeting, which I appreciate. Right. The other thing I appreciate, and this is sort of a tech talk item, is that now during 2020, we have seen an excess of free conferences that are available. And the awesome thing is that you get to attend them right there from your home. So no more is there even though some people look for it, the burden of travel and tracking receipts, checking into the hotel room, making sure you get the receipt for your meal. I don't want to go beyond my per diem, getting into a crowded space. My God, they don't have the ventilation set up properly here and it's getting so damn hot. None of that exists. Now all these conferences are just happening, and it's fine. Like for this year, I finally got to attend at least part of the payment card industry North American community meeting, which, you know, is, once again, it's just a tech conference, people trying to earn the credits they need for their continued education credits to maintain their certs. But I finally got to attend one because of that reason. And I think companies have been really good now for adapting to it and saying, okay, so we're not going to charge people, but let's still put out a quality product to keep them engaged, so that way, hopefully next year when things go back to normal, they convert to normal. Have you attended any like industry specific ones?
The only one I've attended was Adobe Max, and a colleague of mine last year went, and she raved about how just amazing and good it was. And at the time I was only doing web design, so it was less relevant. I mean, it's still relevant, but had I known the breadth and depth that Max covers, I would have gone last year. I'm going to screenshot and share on Twitter using the hashtag NetHeads what my virtual schedule was, and you'll see a lot of conflicting stuff. And this is what's so great about the virtual conference format is everything was recorded. Even if it was live, there's still a recording of it so that it's easy to put up. They don't have to have the camera crew, the 2 camera setup or 1 camera setup or whatever they're using, the Kaltura setup to capture it. But with that, you know, there's definitely a lesser quality in the production, but your tolerance for that production quality also goes down with it. Anyway, it was insane. I mean, I covered everything from instructional design on like how to make a good explainer video or how to make a better explainer video to one of the probably the best ones I sat in on was the editor for Deadpool. I say Deadpool because he's done a ton of stuff. That's just what I remember the most. He went through his workflow, and it changed how my workflow is, like, immediately. And I'm already seeing, like, this week alone, I've shaved off hours in my workflow. So it was insane, and I haven't even begun to scratch all the stuff that I have or that I wanted to see, because Adobe's AI is called Sensei, like a teacher. And the things that it's using now. So for a while they've had content fill in Photoshop, which is, man, if you're doing any sort of graphic design, it's awesome. So for example, if you've got a photo and you want to take out a light pole, you can circle the light pole, put fill content aware, and it will just cover, it'll figure out, okay, most of the pixels aren't this light pole, we're going to blend it in, and then you don't have to spend the time like making a mask or stamping over it, blah, blah, blah. Sensei has gotten so powerful and strong enough, they're able to do it in video.
Bow to your sensei.
Yes.
Sorry, the moment you said sensei, I've been dying to do that.
Yeah, anyway, so it's so cool. Again, it was free, and even if you're not an Adobe product user, there were enough general topic things that weren't, I mean, everything was tied into the product, but there were still like like the how to make a good explainer video, or how to there were a ton on TikTok videos and social media videos and social media content and stuff like that, that there's enough theory involved that anyone that's in like the creation production like realm could glean something from it. And normally this is like a $2,000 conference, and they put it on for free. Which I'm sure they're hoping to recoup the losses next year from everyone that's had such a great experience from it, that they will either have like here's your virtual package and it costs this much, or here's your live package if you're coming to the conference that costs this much type thing. But it's the first one I've been to outside of like education specific conferences, and man, blew every expectation I had out of the water.
I think you may have hit on one important point when you mentioned how they took certain approaches for the many different social media platforms as well, having presentations for them. I think it's a genius idea, especially given that so many people, and I'm not kidding, man, there are so many people that are switching to content creation now because they've just been cooped up and either stumbled across a certain level of popularity they weren't anticipating, or it's just something that made them start thinking more along those lines, that having a free conference showing how you can use their products as a way to enhance and make better products for those platforms is perfectly timed. And making it free is genius, because then all you got to do is sell them on the Creative Cloud platform, and for only, and it's true, guys, again, not a paid ad, for only $50 a month, which, granted, I know that's $600 a year.
Investment.
It is a sound investment because, for example, if I were to pay out of pocket for standalone editions of the following programs that I use, if not daily, definitely multiple times a week: Adobe Audition, Adobe Premiere, Adobe Photoshop. Those three are your basics, and if you did those as standalone software packages, each one is $600. So already you do the subscription for one, you've got them for all three. And again, as a package, it has benefits. For example, if you've ingested your video footage for something and now you're working on it in Adobe Premiere and you're like, wow, you know what? I didn't realize there's a low-level buzz on this. Or, you know what? The room is providing a little more air. I really wish it was more focused on the person's voice. Or, you know, I really wish I could enhance them right here. If you've got two of those three products right from an Adobe Premiere, you can say, you know what? I want to work on the audio for this clip in Adobe Audition, and instantly you're able to denoise, you're able to level it. If you're working with any audio where you're potentially going to be airing in a broadcast fashion, again, audio content management and editing is so important, because then you're able to process the audio at proper broadcast standards that they're expecting. We think of them in different terms. I think of them as LUFS, and Trent thinks of them as
likes, like LKES.
Yeah, and essentially it all boils down to ensuring that the audio quality is consistent, because you don't want one part of your content to be really actually, let me put it this way. If you've ever been trying to watch a movie late at night, right? And you're like, you turn it, yeah, the rest of the house is asleep. You're trying to get the volume just right. So you turn it to the point where you can hear people. But then the moment the action and the music kicks in and things have gone up exponentially, it seems, that's because the sound isn't at least properly balanced. There's something off in the mix. So, like, from a podcast standard or from a broadcast standard, you want to make sure that, like, the commercials and the TV show are more in line, and that the audio is set at appropriate levels for accessibility across the board. And that's, these standards kind of came into play. So, like, for a mono broadcast or a stereo broadcast, one of the two, I'm always shooting for -18 LUFS. So that way the audio level is consistent across the board. My intro music isn't louder than that, et cetera, et cetera. And the idea would be, too, that if somebody was going from, say, our podcast to another podcast, that those volume levels would not be drastically different as well.
Yeah, and I mean, that's for anything that's going out on television, that's the law. Like, that's the Calm Act, which is I forget the acronym, but yeah, essentially, so that, like, you're not like, you remember, like, oh gosh, late 90s, where the big selling point for a lot of televisions was that it would normalize all audio, so that it would you wouldn't get louder commercials than you were getting in the television programs themselves. So this was to kind of supersede that, so that people can't, like, inundate you with loud advertising and whatnot. But yeah, it's and you hit right on the point too, that I think is the biggest advantage, because at work, for my day job, the standard is that we are a Apple organization, and we are a Final Cut organization, and you will use Final Cut for all your products, for all of your deliverables. And it's a great program. It's $200. It's cheap. And there hasn't been an update for 10, like a purchase update for 10 years. So if you spent $200 10 years ago, you've got the latest version still. But I still have to do all my audio in Audition. Like that's just the way it is. If I wanted to be able to see frequencies, which especially after Max, I've stopped, and this has changed a lot for me. I've stopped using noise cancellation and actually just started taking things out in frequency ranges, and it sounds so much better. I've lost the broadcast through a tin can sound that you'd sometimes get through trying to like find that right sweet spot of noise cancellation. But anyway, yeah, like you're working across all the different platforms, and they work so perfectly. I'm working on a project today where I was given some footage that is not good, and it has got a ton of noise gain in it. And the most powerful way to do that is in After Effects. So I can just right click, replace with After Effects composition. I can do all the work in After Effects, and then it pulls directly from After Effects into Premiere without having to render a compressed version to then put into Premiere. Like, it's so seamless that you're doing yourself a disservice by not using it.
I feel that's the case. I think you should always sort of explore all of the technological options that directly relate to what it is you're trying to do. And if you're right now in content creation, especially considering, I believe most of the market is still PC based, because you can especially in this new era of content creation where you're like, I'm going to have a YouTube channel, I'm going to have a Twitch streaming, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So if you want to build a production beast, and the right people, you can build a high quality computer for still, I would say now, probably at the cost of about $700 and below. Or you could build a really high end still yourself for somewhere around $1,000 to $1,200. Of course, now with the COVID of it all, we're running into situations where a lot of the convenient content creation tools are unavailable. Good luck finding anything. If you wanted to use a USB interface to control the various aspects of your audio, good luck finding some of the Go XLR products right now, for example.
Yeah, you like you're ordering from a site in Germany has been the only place I've been able to find them.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, myself, as many know, I have one of my engagements, if you will, is acting as the technological guy for Kevin Smith's Smodco, which means that very soon I'll just say there's strong desire for me to go down to do some studio work after appropriate quarantines and tests and everything else. And one of the challenges that I have to do sounds really simple, but I realize it can be somewhat complex, and that is to bring Jason Muse's studio into play so that there are two microphones in there in case he is streaming with Kevin. And one of those ways would have been to go for like the larger Go XLR, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now me here, I'm old school. I use a mixer. I prefer mixing because that way I can control where audio goes as well. For example, the reason why Trent and I are able to converse so well and why a lot of my virtual conferences go so well is because I'm able to control and take his audio in, I'm able to send my audio out, and I'm able to remove his audio from returning back to him, right?
Right.
Conventionally called a mix minus. And when I do the switching, when we stream out, I stream out through OBS. And rather than having to rely on my keyboard of the program, so that way I can always like be present, so I could actually, just if I want go, bow to your sensei, I could throw that one in there. I use the Elgato Stream Deck to work with OBS, but it does a lot more than that. So, like, one of the things that I'm going to be exploring over the next week is, can I control all the different, what can I control using the Stream Deck? Because they're going to be upgrading Muse's studio to be the larger one. And if I can replicate certain elements, because for example, like one of all the rages now, you find people streaming together, right? And right now, one of the hottest games to stream is Among Us. Which, are you familiar with this game from 2017?
I am, yes.
So it's all the rage. Somebody had the perfect point. They're like, when quarantine first started, we were all playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, where it's about building homes and farming and doing everything else. And now we've come to the point of quarantine where we're playing Among Us, a game where we're all strategically figuring out the best way to kill everyone playing the game. So that's very telling. But one of the cool things that people are doing when they're streaming now is they have to be able to do two things. Let's take the Twitch example as the primary one. You have to be able to control your audio, so that way, one of the other things they're doing is they have their Discord chat going, so everybody can talk about the point once they're trying to deliberate who the killer is. But when they're doing activities, or if you're dead, you need to be able to mute yourself. So that provides a technological challenge you have to overcome, because you always have to be sending your audio to your Twitch stream to keep your audience engaged and be able to speak and converse with them or provide your narration of what's going on. But you also have to be able to quickly and conveniently be able to mute your chat audio, so that way you're not sending when everyone's running tasks or if you're dead and you don't want to be heard. Now, there's one of two ways to do that. One, the Go XLR product has that type of integration to where you can control it, and you can select a specific bus and you can mute yourself going to chat, so that way you don't have to hear them anymore and they won't hear you. But the way I want to explore, because these Elgato Stream Decks, they are some powerful little beasts.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see if I can also just have it so I hit a button and now I'm muting the chat. I'm not sending audio to it. I'm not hearing audio from it. Neither nor, right? What can I do? Because as a product, these things are great when you're working in a streaming environment, because, like, I can press a button, now it's Trent. Press a button, now it's me. I can press a button, it's supposed to be the vector camera, but now it's just my Darth Vader Sensi holder because Winston has knocked it over 20 ways to Sunday. Well, he's rambunctious.
Boy.
But you can also stack tasks in this. Like, I've got this thing, I have different profiles set up. So if I were actually to be Twitch streaming, for example, I could press one button that would start the stream, initiate the recording, as well as send out the tweet that I'm going live. One button, stack tasks. Great application.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet with how integrated they are, I'd be willing to bet that there is a feature that would allow me to just have a button to mute audio to Discord without even going into it or looking at it right now. I bet you it's there. So the funniest thing is, it used to take a box that cost at least $5,000 to do all this. And now with the investment of a few $100s, you can have an amazing streaming studio at your fingertips.
And not only, like, I mean, for broadcast live television, TriCaster is still the standard, but like, not only does it still cost so freaking much, you then basically need to get a degree to be able to know how to use a TriCaster, because they are their own beast in and of themselves. And it's so cool to see, like, all these different, like, interpretations that aren't traditional broadcast ways of switching, right? That are popping up, from Blackmagic to Roland to everyone. Like, it's crazy how that gap has been filled so quickly, because 10 years ago, I mean, there was one option.
Yeah, you had the TriCaster or nothing else. But that's the beauty of sort of the democratization model that we've had, where people have said, you know what, why can't I have a piece of software that just does this or that works with this? And eventually we will kind of cross that bridge where all of the data ports that are available will be able to get enough throughput where you may have an external device where you can connect broadcast quality cameras up to, for example, but then still power it through something free like OBS to get it out there. You know what I mean?
I do. Yeah, OBS, it's crazy because like that program has done more for and it's so crazy to me. Like Twitch is an enigma to me because all it is an aggregator. Like
How do you mean?
all the heavy lifting is being done on your own computer and the ISP.
That's very true.
And all Twitch is, I mean, essentially, right? It's an interaction tool with your audience, which is very helpful. So I get that. And then it's like a, you know, let's step back 8 years. It's like a podcatcher. It's one place where you can see everything that's being delivered or everything that's out there. But aside from that, like everything else is being done on someone's computer. Like
Almost. So here is the because you're right. First of all, if you want to take Twitch into consideration, what it does is it quickly enables you to be able to have a method in order to develop your own broadcast channel like that.
Yeah.
The difference is, like, for example, right now we're going out through YouTube and people can chat through YouTube. We're going out through Periscope, and I don't know how the hell people interact with that. I haven't been checking the hashtag NetHeads because I suck. But Facebook has its own chat, so you can interact that way. But here is where Twitch helps bridge the gap, because it creates a situation where people have an ability to be recognized and be directly a part or influence on the show, where if you are working with somebody that you admire, for example, you're following somebody and you want to, case in point, okay? I was able to make a $5 investment to get the guy who wrote the screenplay for Book of Eli and for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Gary Whitta. I got to hear him say my name, that Will Wilkins, because I gifted one subscription to his channel. So it also enables these ways to interact, whether you're donating, whether you're providing bits or anything else. Those, through the Twitch platform, provide triggers that then your software can do something to have happen, whether it's a custom emote coming up, a custom sound playing, a custom item. Like another great way that you're able to do this, if you're playing one of those games right now that has jump out items or items that would scream or scare people, you could say, for example, do a donation of a certain amount and it would generate a scream in the host's ear for, you know, or there are ways you can mess with them. Like you could come up with action cards they could play that would flip your screen or other things. So it helps bridge that interactive gap so that you too can become part of the program, more so than me just saying, oh, Vaca Boca pointed out that quality sleep is so important, right? That's the call and response that exists in what we're doing now, and admittedly in what I was doing in Play TV in 1998, because it was just being able to read the chats that come in or potentially read the chat. But that's what Twitch does, as well as allowing you to kind of slip in and out of whatever category you want your channel to be in. For example, I think I accidentally had ours still going in Mall Brawl, and then I tried to switch it to just chatting, but I probably got distracted. So it also does that. It helps enable you to focus your audience on what you're doing at the time, or allows you to slip into another area. For example, if people just want to see people that are playing Among Us as possibly an opportunity to somebody to play with or to see what their strategies are. Speaking of which, interaction of the Internet of Things and the zeitgeist of things. Over this past week, members of Congress were on Twitch TV, Trent, playing Among Us.
Yep.
And one of them was AOC. And I'm not saying this to belittle her. I can't remember her name specifically, so I don't want to remember it. Or I don't want to say it and say it wrong, because that would be a disservice. But AOC triggered the third highest stream count on the platform, on Twitch. And mind you, on her channel and also streaming at the same time was a very popular YouTuber who was pulling in roughly around 40,000 views. And I think at the peak, the AOC Among Us stream, as awareness to get out the vote, hit 459,000 viewers. Hey, Beth.
and that probably doesn't even include the restreams going on. People that were hosting that on their own pages.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that aggregates up, but that to me was an interesting thing, and that is one of the markers. By the way, I was shouting out Beth Longo chiming in from Facebook. So nice to see you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just one of those things where what it impressed upon me was an imaginative way to attempt to get the younger audience engaged in the concept of making sure that you're registered to vote and get out to vote. Because I think that's an important message. And regardless of political affiliation, I think it's the thing that all Americans should always focus on. If you have the right to vote and you have the ability to vote, you should be voting. Because if you're never happy with the current political structure, voting is the only way you have to have any type of impact on it. And the only thing you have to remember is that much like a long con, it takes time to enact this change. For example, if you find people that more align with if you're not extreme right-wing and you're not extreme left-wing, maybe you're more of a centrist. You're looking for more bipartisanship. If you project your vote out to a representative that has similar beliefs, and then you're, one, empowering them to get into office, whether it's at local office all the way up through the greatest or the most important position in the country, the president. That gives you that ability to affect that change, and the more people that do that helps align your views and your representation in that way. So that's the first way that you affect change. The other one is that you're also contributing to the mass perception of what is going on. For example, if you are a person that is very much against the more left beliefs of more socialistic approach, if you don't believe in democratic socialism, then you would be able to put your votes into more right-wing categories as a way that you are at least enabling your voice. Whether that's the end result of who is elected, I can't say. But, the more people that do that, the more that your voice also gets represented. Or if you're on the opposite side of things and you're not much of a person that's into the populist movement and everything else, then you can vote for those people that would best represent your values. But, more importantly, too, I think one of the things that we need to have a focus in the political arena is also starting to back the candidates who may share our views, but are also going to focus more on bipartisan cooperation. Let's actually put communication back into the process and have it so that our lawmakers are working for the greater good. Because one of the things that frustrates me, at least in the rhetoric that we're getting from the White House right now, for example, things are very red focused and very blue focused when, I don't care what your political affiliation is. You're still representing all of the voters in your district, in your county, in your electorate, for sure. The president of the United States, whether he is a Republican or a Democrat, he is still representing all of the citizens of the United States, regardless of their political affiliation. So, sorry to go off on a rant here, folks, but please, I hope you're voting, because technically I'm getting a pop-up too that very soon I have to evaluate if I truly am going to volunteer on a call bank for getting out the vote. Because what are you doing right now? What is this? You're taking a picture.
I'm taking a picture to post to the people that are hanging out online of my setup, my camera setup. I did something new this week.
Oh, really? That's awesome. What did you do that's new?
I'm using a mic arm with a cam rig, 1/4-inch clamp that then has 3 right angles adjustable so that there's less movement when I touch the table.
Oh, nice. You know what? I found that what helped reduce my camera shake right now, because I've just got it on a 2 joint arm. You're like your traditional swing arm. But in order to get it at the angle I wanted, which I found actually reduced a lot of the movement, I undid those compression springs to kind of make sure it recoils back to a certain spot.
Right. Yeah.
But I am using a similar type of rig that you're talking about to hold up the stupid halo light in an approximate area. So I don't care if that bounces. Like, you see a lot of bounce too, because you're on a camera that's on a monitor from my perspective. Speaking of which, let's hit on gaming before we wrap this up, if that's okay. And I'm sorry if there were any incompleted. Michelle Kuzo. Hi, happy Sunday. It's been forever since I've been able to catch you guys live. Hello. Welcome. So glad you could join us. You sent out an interesting picture to me a little while ago because I believe I had asked you, hey, Trent, how's it going with the Switch Lite? And you sent me just the funniest picture because I think you truly mastered the best way that you can utilize your Nintendo Switch Lite while still watching TV and enjoying your couch.
Yep. Yes. It's so for any microphone spring arm, you can get attachments to the European mount. I believe it's like it's almost like a 7/8. It's huge. The initial connection, and one of them is just a very simple spring-loaded plastic C clamp that's even padded on the inside so that it won't scratch anything that it's holding. And I set that up on my coffee table. And I have, and we've talked about this in the past before. If you're playing any sort of Switch, you got to get an external controller just because your hands will just start to hurt. And it also, I found it helps keep the Switch clean itself when you're not handling it all the time. Anyway, and now I'm able to have my head vertical, like horizontal, straight in line, and not looking down all the time, or my arms aren't going dead from holding it up like this, and I'm able to passively watch television at the same time because the spring arm is holding the Switch. It has changed my not the amount that I was playing, sadly, but the enjoyment of it, because my neck doesn't hurt anymore, my arms don't get tired anymore. Like, it is perfect. I am mad at myself that I didn't think about it sooner.
You've basically found a way to just completely be relaxed while still seeing the portable screen. I can appreciate that.
Television, like, oh man, it's been fun. I think I've logged like 150 hours of MotoGP 20 so far.
Man, you love them MotoGP games, don't you?
I do. I really do. It's fun. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I'll screenshot this as well and throw it up on Twitter. But like, I think I've watched this year. I have a log. Hulu, I don't have the best records, but everything else I do. I've watched like 50 seasons of television this year.
Let me tell you something. Sometimes that's all you have, because if nothing else, it's really big to kind of distract ourselves from the reality around us. And I know that I was remiss that I had only seen one season, for example, of Schitt's Creek before watching the Emmys just to see how they would shake out, and seeing that show completely sweep the comedy nomination areas. But man, it is especially when each episode is only 30 minutes, so you can go through a situational comedy or any of the show that's 30 minutes long. You can go through them quick. Like the wife and I just started watching Schitt's Creek again, and you know, we're on the 6th and final season, and I think it's only been like 2 weeks. So I'm not surprised. That is a lot of viewing that you can definitely squeeze in a brief amount of time.
Yeah, it is. And again, it's passive, and there are shows that I have left in my queue because I want to pay more attention to them. Not while I'm playing video games. But yeah, it's seriously such a simple fix. Why didn't I do it sooner? I don't know.
Well, given how much TV you've watched, I think I know the reason why. There may have been something in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Something holding you back just in case.
Yeah.
Well, man, dude, I don't know about you, but I think we're at time. But, you know, hearing your relaxed gaming scenario, that I can definitely appreciate that, because I know personally when I'm playing on the TV itself, man, if I want to be nice and comfortable, because I know if I'm playing video games, then I'm fully invested for a while, because I play big. I either play big or I go home, and since I'm already home, I play big. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you got to.
And that's the exact reason why there are some things right now that I still also haven't watched. I've got so much going on, I don't have time to pay attention to things. Like, I almost feel like there's a certain segment we should start doing that's just like, what's in your queue? You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh, yeah.
because for me, I have got still the remainder of season 2. I watched the first 4 episodes, I think. I've got the remainder of season 2 of The Boys to watch. I have all of Lovecraft Country to watch. I still have the majority of season 2 of Doom Patrol to watch.
Oh, God.
So, and there's, they've already talked about how there's a 3rd season of that coming. So
Surprisingly, right? Like with the what do you call it? Absorption of the DCU app into HBO, everything else except Doom Patrol was canceled.
yeah, I know, but that's not true. I think. Well, I don't know which way Stargirl is shaking out.
Well, I bet CW though. That's not an app only.
Isn't? I mean, it was when it was originally created, it was intended to be app only for DC Universe. Then it got put on the CW. Interestingly enough, as well, one of the ones that I did not see on the DC Universe that I hope might be present in HBO Max, or I guess I'd be able to watch it through the CW app, but. One of the critical favorites from the DC Universe app was the Swamp Thing series, and its ratings on the CW have just crushed.
Yep.
I mean, as the kids would say, it slaps. So, I guess that's what you could have said about Winston's feed.
Oh, is that a thing? Slaps?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, it had to have been a thing actually a year ago, but it's still being used, at least what I see on TikTok, because I've got no life. But Darcy Carden, the first time I heard reference to it was when in The Good Place, they get to The Good Place, and Janet is like, okay, first let me learn everything about The Good Place, and I've learned it. Good news, it slaps. So that's the first time I heard it. But
I totally missed that.
And you got to remember, she recorded that in the summer of 2019. So,
right.
Maybe it was one of them LA things that had to get out there. I don't know. I forgot that makes me wonder, though, after seeing great ratings on the CW and with a lot of their superhero shows aging to the point of economical inviability, if you will. Because if you guys aren't aware, in television, basically 7 seasons is kind of like the golden ticket, because talent has been trapped into specific prices at sustainable rates. Once you get beyond that 7th year, talent costs go up, license, everything, cost increases go up by quite a few fold. And, you got to figure, I think the Flash is technically going to be going into its 7th season. Arrow ended during its 7th, I think. Supernatural, the exemption at 13, but hey, why not for Supernatural? That being said, they've got a lot of their superhero stuff that we're is going to be hitting aging from quite a few perspectives. 1, cost and viability. 2, talent wanting to stick around, and the like. So seeing something like Swamp Thing that everybody loved, but the show itself while it was in hiatus, it was too costly to keep the sets, for example. Right. I'm wondering what's going to happen now with that show, even though it hasn't been in production in well over a year. What's going to happen now that it's been a ratings darling? Whereas other things that I would have thought have been ratings darlings they've died, Netflix, for example, you just told me the soul-crushing news that they canceled the Sabrina show that they had there, which was really well done.
Yeah, despite being in pre-production for the next season, scripts were written, talent had the scripts, they were planning things, and it's over.
Same thing happened to Glow. We were told was renewed for a final season, but because of production increases and risks with that show, because it's a large ensemble show where you have a lot of people interacting a lot of times, and there's also the challenge of the close contact sport aspect of wrestling that was in it. It got renewed, and we were told it would be the last season, but then just the COVID cost of it all made it economically undesirable. And now we're not going to see that. So that's a big, big bummer. I mean, it's not like the sort of not to be totally unanticipated, but definitely not appreciated cancellation we got with Venture Brothers.
Oh, God.
I know. I'm still hurting from that. And I think there was, last I heard there.
Warning.
Huh?
Hashtag trigger warning.
Yeah, sorry. Oh. But with respect to that show, I know there were some rumors about maybe them trying to move it over to HBO Max, which, I've still got it for at least a few more months. I got to remember when we bought the new phones, because that's that purchase I think is what qualified. No, never mind. I've got HBO Max because of the cost-saving program I'm on now. So for AT&T, so I get it for free. You get sucky service, but you get quality entertainment with unlimited data.
That's what happens when content providers and service deliverables are one in the same.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good mix for anything. That's just me, though. But, in the future, it's all going to be Taco Bell, Trent.
Well, or as we saw in Idiocracy, Carl's Jr., which I'm okay with.
Of course, because as we all know,
I love Carl's Jr.
I'm so glad I finally got a good clean sound bite of that. All right. My linguistic capabilities are shot. I don't know why my mouth isn't working anymore. It's time for me to walk away. But please do me a favor, folks. Remember, if you have the opportunity, go to youtube.com/netheadsonair. Click that subscribe button. You get notified. Click that bell so you get notified when we are going live. And, we appreciate your support as always. And Trent, is it Death Ray Media that we want to send them to?
Yeah, you can go to deathray.media for all of my stuffs.
There you go. Just that easy, folks. And in case you haven't noticed, I'm that Will Wilkins all over social media. He is a part of him just about everywhere you want to find him. Give us a follow because we love interacting with you. And by the way, for all of you that are still with us, I just want to say as well, because I think this is something that, as what apparently I am now a content creator, should do. I want you to all know that we deeply appreciate those of you that have been with us for a long time and those of you that join us on this journey whenever you have. It is always greatly appreciated to know that we are able to, in some way, either interact with or provide a service to you, and you are very much appreciated. So thank you very much for joining us on our journey. And, if you're here with us, sticking around, great. And if we fall by the wayside, that's okay too. But I just want you to all know we appreciate y'all and thank you so much. So, Ed, do you want to tag in on that, Sappiness?
We love you, and you matter.
There we go. And it gets better. No, wait, that's the wrong message. Anyway, until next time, folks, my name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we will be back
soon.
I hope.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
We went through all of that, and the big thing that I talked up about before the show, which is probably good because it would have been 2 minutes of content anyway, was bitching about Apple's decision to not include a power block anymore. Can you believe that?
We covered it. Done.
There we are. Yeah, it's frustrating and stupid, guys. Not necessarily not having a power block, but if you're going to be giving us a lightning cable with a USB-C end, that's great if we're going to be plugging into one of our MacBook Pros to charge our MacBook. But the majority of those chargers out there that you're saying you don't want to make because you want to reduce the carbon footprint, aren't we going to be increasing production costs by having to get a stupid adapter to go from USB 2 to USB-C? Right?
Just make sure, that Apple does want you to make sure you're getting the best quality. So buy their adapter, buy their dongle.
As Lurch says, screw Trent stuff. I want to go out.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.